Hi, my name is Sheila Uter. I'm going to be reading chapter 9 of Finding Langston. I found the letter. It came in the mail last week. Daddy been hiding it under his bed. I'm up late for school, and Daddy left me behind. Usually we walk together to the end of the block. Then he goes left to the L, and I go right for school. Today I turned to the apartment upside down, looking for my key. I found 4 pennies fell out of Daddy's pocket and one of the old marbles I've been looking for in the crack between the floorboards. I finally found my key. But while I'm looking under Daddy's bed, I see a shoebox pushed all the way into the corner. I know it isn't right. I can hear Daddy's voice in my head saying, looking at something don't belong to you is the same as stealing, a sin. Folks always say my daddy is a godly man, but he don't leave much room for things that ain't a sin. So even though I know it's a sin, I open the box and take a look. I see a couple of letters with a wiggly writing and other letters at the bottom tied with a ribbon. These don't have envelopes, just gurgly writing. Smell like perfume. I'll get to those later, but first I open the letter I want. Dearest Henry, God's blessing on you and Langston. Hope you both are well in Chicago. Bet it's cold there now. Henry, I'm sorry to tell you, Mama is doing poorly. Since she got the cold last month, she can't seem to get right. Keep me up half the night coughing. Not that I'm complaining. God has blessed me with the strength to carry on in good and bad times. We sure appreciate the money you've been sending, but with the cough getting worse, I may need a little something extra to get her to the doctor if you have it to spare. Tell Langston to be good for his daddy. Prayerfully yours, Lena. Grandma is sick? I've never seen my grandma sick a day in my life. I barely saw Grandma sit down, let alone take to bed. Mama said that was because she used to taking care of herself after Daddy died. Since then, she had to be Mama and Daddy, a man and a woman, I guess. She cooked just as good as she farmed. Sundays after services, seemed like half the church would come by for supper. Grandma had a long table, and she'd lay out dish after dish on the old lace tablecloth after the ham, macaroni and cheese, fried okra, biscuits, green beans swimming in butter, and tea. Mama and Aunt Lena cleared the table and brought out the pies. Grandma sat at the head telling stories. When Mama took sick, Grandma came and tended to her when me and Daddy couldn't. Treated Mama like a newborn baby, washing her, feeding her, changing the sheets when she wet herself. And at night, after Grandma cooked our dinner and cleaned up too, she sat by the bed, brushing and plaiting Mama's hair and singing songs so sweet my eyes filled with water. She loved Mama near as much as me and Daddy. God blessed me with another child I didn't have to birth or burp, she said and laughed. She knew Mama's family before Mama even born. Her people lived down the road till they passed when Mama was still young. I'm so late now. I'm gonna get sent to the office. I put the key in my shoe and raced down the steps to school. The principal, Mr. Freeman, is talking to a teacher when I run into the office for a late pass. He just waves me on to class. I slip into my seat trying to be quiet, trying to quiet my breathing so Miss Robbins don't turn around from the chalkboard. Between the letter and being late, I barely noticed that Lyman didn't come to school. Means I can take my time going to the library. Clem and Euro barely look at me as I walk through the schoolyard. On the way to the library, I notice the trees in the sidewalk have leaves that are just starting to turn yellow. The same yellow I watch from the bedroom back home every year when the weather started to turn. In the spring, smell of white blossoms made Mama smile, and on a hot Alabama day, you could almost hide from the sun under its branches. Every year, when the first flowers showed up, Mama would cut off a few branches and put them in water in a mason jar, sit them in the right middle of the kitchen table, so we don't have to go outside to smell springtime, she laughed. Daddy said she was looking at too many white women magazines, but I thought they looked really pretty. I think he did too. We both laughed. We both loved the white blossoms on a branch could make her happy. Downstairs in the library, I plopped my book on the librarian's desk. Finished early. I wanted to take out more, I told her. She laughs. That's fine. Here. She points. The return slot is there. Just put them in there and go back out there and go check out more books. Thanks, I mumbled, shamed again to not know yet how the library works. You have any books on trees? I asked. Right over there in the in the nonfiction section. Try the 580 call numbers, she says. Don't know what nonfiction means or if there are really 580 books on trees, but I look anyhow. I walk up and down the rows and then I see one book and a lot more all about trees, all kind of trees too. I never knew there were so many. I take one of the tree books down from the shelf and go to the table by the window. I look through the pictures for a magnolia tree and find one right in the middle of the book. A big color picture, smooth and shiny. I add another Langston Hughes book on top of the magnolia book and pull out my card of my satchel and wait for the librarian to thunk a stamp in my books. And that was chapter 9 of Finding Langston.